Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to continue on with Gsdr session number 3. This will be presentations on specific actions for solutions by businesses from global perspective. This session aims to identify pioneering initiatives for innovation leverage points and to share the transformational processes. This session is also a bilingual session. Please find the language of your choice on the special website, and the documents in English are downloadable from the streaming screen. Let me introduce our participants in this session. From 7&I Holdings Company Limited, Executive Director and Senior Officer of Sustainable Development Department, Ms. Mayumi Tsuryu. From Sompo Japan Insurance Inc., Executive Board Director, Ms. Kayoko Sakai. We also have from Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group Inc., Sustainability Promotion Manager, Mr. Tatsuya Takeda. And as a commentator, we have Professor Norichika Kaniye, Chairman of the Japan SDGs Action Promotion Council and a member of the IGS, Independent Group of Scientists appointed by UN Secretary General. We also have a member of IGS, Dr. Jaime Montoya. First, I'd like to call upon Professor Kaniye to say a few words to open the session. We have had quite interesting sessions. I have been so excited. I'm glad to start this session. So, we have many SDGs pioneering companies participating in this discussion. I'm looking forward to a very productive discussion. Thank you. Now I'd like to call upon Dr. Jaime Montoya. Let me first introduce Dr. Jaime Montoya. Dr. Jaime Montoya is a native of the Philippines. He's a specialist in infectious diseases, certified by the Royal College of Physicians and the Philippine Board of Internal Medicine and the Philippine Board of Microbiography. He also holds the PhD in medicine from the Juntendo University Graduate School of Medicine, Tokyo, Japan. He is currently a professor at the University of the Philippines College of Medicine, advisor to the ASEAN Committee on Science, Technology, and Innovation. So I'd like to call upon Dr. Jaime Montoya to give us a comment as well. The greeting, please.
Yes, good morning to everyone. I'm very honored and pleased to be part of this distinguished panel this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He will give us his comments later on as well. From global perspective, we have business representatives making presentations on their efforts. What are the leverage points for companies? Has there been changes in their perspective? What has happened? What are the transformations? What are the processes to these companies? We would like to have a representative to give us a 10-minute presentation. Following 5 minutes will be a session where Professor Kaniye and Dr. Montoya will give us comments. So I'd like to invite Ms. Tsuryu to start off.
Thank you very much for this very valuable opportunity. My name is Tsuryu from 7&I Holdings. So in terms of the sustainable promotion, I'm also members of this team. So thank you very much. So as Sakurada-san have kindly introduced me to this session in terms of global perspective and the leverage point. Of course, this is indeed some of the area we're working on with trial and error. So I would like to share our experiences. Our group, SDGs initiative, allow me to explain this in slight more detail. So in the overview of our group, Ito Yokado is a general merchandising store. It's been already 100 years since its foundation. Our foundation is based on a community. And as I've been talked about from this morning, in the community, how we are going to take action, think global and act locally. So for us, the stores and the outlet with the community, we have been able to grow over the years. So as a store inside domestic market, we're exceeding over 20,000 stores. And of course, so the number of customers visiting the store per day is 22 million plus. And in the global activities undertaken, we are working in collaboration with the world and the community, how we will be able to seek for the growth of the local community, which leads to growth as well. With this 20 million customers of ours and also the people residing in this area, we need to be responsible and accountable. And that is our mission statement for our company. And with that being said, as have been talked about, the materiality, we have to be able to embrace this materiality. And 2014, we have started this initiative. So materiality, on the far left, as you can see, this is the 5 material issue. This was stipulated in 2014, and we are now reviewing that at this moment in time, and it's still ongoing effort. We believe we'll be able to announce the recent 7 materiality, and on the far right, to try to effect that in our action in our organizational management. So this is our format of how it could be implemented. For us, what's most important is with the community is the most important theme. And number 5, as you can see, the group of companies all together. It's a motivation to people who would like to choose us as the best place to work. So in order to we grow in the future, it's a very important asset of ours. So we like to embrace that in our materiality in terms of people and employees issue. And this time, with the stakeholders, we have conducted a survey and dialogue. And having this opportunity, this is a very important guideline for us. So over 5,000 people have kindly been able to participate in survey on a global 7-Eleven Inc. Then we have U.S. members also have been incorporated in this number, and 1,000 free answers in order to define the materiality of our hours. So us alone, we will not be able to grow. We need to involve multiple stakeholders for us to grow together. So this is the starting point for us with this intent. And we talked about the leverage point. For us, for our group, this is going to be the leverage point. So in terms of the environmental declaration in 2018 in March, 7i Group have talked about the future which is sustainable for us. In the newspaper, this is an open spread of the newspaper page which had been made into smaller format. So ESG for the future from various perspectives. With the people of the local community, we need to grow together, and we made this declaration, and this is our vision. After 1 year in 2019, in terms of declaring the environmental sustainability. So these 4 goals, the CO2, carbon neutrality, and also utilizing plastic that's friendly to the environment, and also food recycle, which is important, and also procurement. We need to be robust in their procurement. So in other words, a group overall, the first time we have a common set of numerical goals, quantitative goals, and that it was a major driver for us to pursue on this journey. And our group at Holdings, the companies that is operated under umbrella, they all have the same pain point. You know, being a same family of holdings, but trying to attain the similar goal, that was not taken into actual actions. But with this Green Challenge Declaration for Environment, making and setting up a common set of goals is so important, and we feel that very strongly. So for of these, of course, target, we have a innovation team with cross-departmental, cross-company-wide effort. So carbon neutrality, which I would like to describe a little more in detail in the latter part of my presentation. But the top leader are defined for the carbon neutrality, and each of the members of the group, we have about 30 people, and with these members, we are now pursuing on the innovation for this. So this is indeed is the reason why our group will be able to work for the future, and I think this is our leverage point. Within that, what we are doing in specific terms, I would like to share this matrix with you, carbon neutrality. So the state government is now very proactive in pursuing for carbon neutrality. And we also like to join on this effort with the state government and CO2 emission. Well, for us, we are retailers, so it's a very large emissions that we do have a cost, and this is a repentance on our part. We have 20,000 stores, as we said. The energy that we utilize, most of them, is in-store offering safe and secure food to the customer. Refrigeration and freezers, the energy source is electricity. So this is 95%. So how will we be able to seek energy efficiency and save energy, so it has not caused additional burden to the community, is the area that we need to look into. So in order to make a clear explanation of this for embracing understanding, we would like to try to achieve the goal for the SDGs. And within that, what I've said, the stores, starting from the store perspective, there are 3 activities which is easy to communicate, and the community themselves will be able to grow together. So those are the 3 pillars. Reducing the CO2 emission, there are 3 pillars: energy saving, energy generation, and procurement of renewable energy. So in terms of energy saving, this is the most important aspect. So every day, 20 million people and customer come to the store, and to this 20 million customer, they need to feel that that there is a saving effort, and that changed Japan. And each of the, of course, global, we also have a store in the global region as well. And each store have to try to be aware about energy saving, which is a betterment of the earth altogether. So in terms of the light is on, so we're utilizing electricity. It's not as easy as that. So in guaranteeing food safety, freezers and refrigeration is the most important thing. And this is, of course, the bulk of the energy usage. So how efficiently we be able to use this energy is the most important aspect. And also visualization in your home. This is something that you can practice in our daily lives. You know how much you utilize electricity, how much you have saved. So each store will be able to visualize the usage of electricity. And the center is the energy generation. So for us, with NTT, Japan company, telecommunication company, we have installed the PV panel. I'm sorry, talking about the far right, the renewable energy off-site solar power plant. So without the power generators, utilities, we will be able to do power generation by ourselves. NTT, over the 20 years of time, in utilizing the solar power plant, we had made a commitment, and they're sharing the electricity. So therefore, we are now increasing the 100% renewable energy stores. And as a retailers, this is a first, I think, initiative undertaken by a group of retailers like ours. So other retailers also are engaged in similar effort as well. So in the center, in terms of power generation, we need to increase the ratio of renewable energy, which is so important for Japan. So that is the reason why we feel a lot of significance in pursuing this journey forward, and reducing the utilization of electricity while increasing the number of outlet and retailers outlet. We were able to do this together. So the international, of course, endeavor, the group members of ours, we have to be open to the other part of the world. And centered around 7-Eleven, the TCFD, the specific risk and opportunity, has been brainstormed last year. So we started in 19 in the opening of this, but the implementation of that TCFD opportunity and also challenges have been highlighted. So carbon neutrality in 2030, 2050. Having this goal, 1.5 degrees Celsius, achieving this goal, we have this passion to attain this. So that is so important within our activity within TCFD. This is the last slide. So in the global arena, RE100, SBT, for us. I mean, the Japanese company, many, of course, Japanese enterprises are participating in this effort. So we would like to join our hands together to achieve RE100 and SBT. So with all of you, we would like to, for the betterment of the growth of our stores and community, we would like to do our part. So that will be all from 7i Holding. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Being icebreaker, 7i Holdings, the executive, I would like to thank Senior Officer, Corporate Development Division, Ms. Mayumi Tsuryu. So I would like to receive comment from Mr. Kanye and also Dr. Montoya. So starting from Mr. Kanye. So thank you very much. You have a very high ambition, and it's leading to actual action taking. So I must say, a lot of hope in terms of the endeavor that has been placed by 7i Holding. Thank you very much. And also, 24 hours, 7-Eleven, it's around the clock in terms of operation of the stores. So in terms of the working styles, there are a lot of course, hardships or burden. For instance, under COVID pandemic, the mothers are working at the 7-Eleven convenience stores, and maybe their family members, children, have to will not be able to participate in nursery or school because of being infected by COVID or close contact. From us, I think it's better for the actual mothers and families who have gone through this hardship. So reflecting on this comment of the employees, I think it's going to be very important how you manage your operation, the social trend and how the societies is changing so dramatically. So seeing these with COVID, not only COVID, but climate change, there must maybe some disasters. And the similar thing also could be said. Well, I hope that inclusive of that altogether, the truly sustainable effort that's been undertaken, like if you go to 7-Eleven, many people are working with a happy feeling, and that also shares and resonates with the people of the community. So this is my personal opinion. Thank you very much. So Dr. Montoya, so with Ms. Tsuryu's presentation, Doctor, if you be able to share your comment, or maybe if you have any question to Ms. Tsuruya, please do so. So, Dr. Montoya.
Yes, thank you very much for that very interesting presentation. Just very briefly, being the first speaker in this seminar symposium, I'd like to congratulate the speaker. It highlights the need to translate country-level sustainable development goals into firm-level actions. I think there's a need to develop a framework for making the SDGs actionable by multinational companies, just the 7i Group. It was very well shown in the presentation that they are now doing their best efforts to actually pursue sustainability, which is increasingly becoming a crucial topic in international business. So first of all, I'm truly impressed with the effort to improve energy efficiency, which addresses a negative externality, which is the overuse of natural resources. So despite the massive operations of 7i Group, about 22,000 stores, they're exerting active programs for improving energy efficiency in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. If I may make a suggestion, I think one untapped resource is the possibility of working with nonprofit organizations, with local governments maybe, or even non-governmental organizations, considering that the 7i Group is very strong in the community, in order to sustain behavioral changes, which is one of the goals that we want to happen in order to ensure continuity of all of the initiatives that you're doing. So we should measure the extent by which these activities that you're doing can change certain behaviors or social practices focusing on the changes that will mostly benefit the community. So again, very important initiatives which you also mentioned, such as the Green Challenge 2050, CO2 reduction, the efforts to promote the circular economy by recycling waste and measures against plastic, food loss and waste are very commendable. And I'd like also to support the task force for climate-related financial disclosures, which is a way of measuring how far you have gone as far as realizing decarbonization is concerned. So again, thank you very much.
Dr. Montoya, thank you very much. So, Ms. Tsuryu? Yes, thank you very much for a lot of advice. Thank you, and insight as well. And as Chairman, Mr. Kanye, have said, so the workers, for us, how much will we be able to contribute and do the best to the worker? We have a system called 7View. And looking at the store in a timely manner, understanding the status quo of the store, we are also supporting this effort as well. But the most important is the voices of the people in the front line. Periodically, how will we be able to listen to the voices of the frontliners? So with COVID, there are a lot of problems to all of us. But as a company attitude, every week, the situation of COVID, we have a meeting to share the latest update of COVID. And by doing so, together, we'll be able to acquire sanitizers or partition screens for preventive measures, so people will be able to work safely and securely. So as a result of that, so having a voice being heard, so the workers, it's their lives and their works. They can have a tangible feeling that their voices are reflected for the positiveness of overall. And Dr. Montoya, as you said, for the next generation, the new innovation have to be initiated with NGOs and many stakeholders. We need to learn from them so that we will be able to a better company and be able to grow with the community. Thank you very much. I renewed my passion. Thank you. So thank you very much. So Seven and I have various, of course, alliances, NGO and NPO, and I know you're already pursuing this effort. So next, I would like to introduce from the executive directors of the Sompo Japan. So Ms. Sakai has been able to achieve in CSR and also have been working on the joint gender working efforts. So also have been a forefront learner of the SDGs.
So she is Executive Board Director of Sompo Japan Insurance, Inc. So Ms. Kayako Sakai, please. Hello, I'm Sakai from Sompo Japan Insurance, Inc. Thank you for giving this opportunity to join this SDGs Action Promotion Council. Since 1996, I have been involved with Global Environment Office. This was the very first environment office, ISO 10,041. We have developed Eco Fund. And then we went to Cabinet Office, where they were trying to create a law to promote women's participation. So thus promoting diversity. And today I'm in charge of sustainability in our company. I've been looking forward to listening to best practices. Now let me start my presentation. This is my first slide. Now, our Sompo Group. We are the company named Sompo Japan Insurance, a company belonging to Sompo Group. Recently, we have expanded our businesses to nursing care and healthcare, as well as digital business. We have 24,000 employees. We are operating 29 different countries. If you look at next page, we set up our purpose, our company management philosophy. Again, we are a non-life insurance company, but we want to make sure to provide best possible services so that we can contribute to society. That is group management philosophy. In terms of sustainability, we have the business strategy that includes that perspective. We are trying to incorporate that into management framework. SDGs will be the outcome of our efforts. Specifically speaking, PRI, PSI, WBCSD, these are all global organizations that we participate in, and therefore we also involved with Global Compact, ISO 26000. We are referring to all of these international standards, trying to utilize our strengths to provide positive value to society. We have had intensive discussion internally. We try to listen to experts and NPOs as well. As a result, as you can see on the left-hand side, we have 7 points of materialities for us. We are a risk solution provider. This is a core business, but I want to focus on partnership platform building. So that's where I want to focus on. Again, building a partnership platform. We have materialities and we have respective KPIs set. So we have purpose, business plan. All of these are interconnected. We make sure that we have PDCA cycle turning for every KPI. Next on, if you look at SDGs and business plans, how can we connect them together? As I mentioned earlier, they are interconnected. Sompo Japan is a major company within a group. Let me first introduce our company. In 1888, the company started its operation. We have 130 years of history. In the beginning, it started out with firefighters in Edo era. There were many wooden structures in Edo, the old Tokyo. When there were fire, there was private firefighters, and that is really the original form of our company. So our DNA is trying to help people who are in need. Therefore, we believe that we have very high affinity with SDGs. Now, I want to talk about building partnership with NPOs. This has been the area of our focal interest. In order to solve problems that are complex, what a single company can do is very much limited. So what we want to do is to foster people who can plant trees rather than we planting trees. So we can work with NPOs. This is how we have been able to evolve together with NPOs. These are all very old programs, older than 10 years. We have the public seminars on the environment for citizens. This is a free seminars on the web. And we also have a project to send undergraduate and graduate school students to NPOs. We're giving paying hourly pays based on the donations from employees. Now, the last one, Save Japan project, is based on automotive insurance that is now web-based. We have been able to save a lot of expenses. What is saved is now used to conserve greenery across the country. NPO and citizens can also participate in the actual actions taken. As I mentioned earlier, our DNA is to save people, help people. And that is a major characteristic of our sustainability activities. Now, coming back to our core business. As you might know, there has been climate change impact felt. We have fire insurance policies that covers the water-related disasters such as flood and wind-related disasters as well. As you can see here, the insurance claims that are paid has been increasing constantly. In 2011, there was an East Japan earthquake. There were floods in Thailand that actually caused many damages to Japanese companies operating there. In 2018, there have been major typhoons, 3 of them striking Japan, and the highest amount of claim of 1.6 trillion yen paid that year. As you can see, the payment is increasing. So every year, somewhere in Japan, flood, earthquake, natural disasters are happening. Intensity of typhoons, frequency of disasters are all on the rise. As an insurance company, it is important for us to smoothly make the payment of claims. So we are trying to transform ourselves, but that's not enough. In other words, it's not just after the effect what we can do. We should be able to contribute better to disaster mitigation and prevention. So for that purpose, this is a program that is still ongoing. This is the Disaster Resilient Platform. Rather than just helping people after the effect, we want to be part of the human network, and our partnership with Npos that is older than 30 years old, and group-wide knowledge accumulation. All of these are utilized to contribute to local community on this platform. There are specific examples throughout the country. This is Sompo Ishikawa Park in Ishikawa Prefecture. This is based on a wish to contribute to disaster prevention, providing specific services to citizens, the police, and the local governments. I can't introduce everything, but as you can see, we have multiple programs in Japan. Here, locally in Yokohama, we are working with Kanagawa Prefecture to write the disaster prevention agreement. We are providing information to individual policy holders on BCP. In Akita Prefecture, we are working with local banks to set local standards for SDGs, and companies can register in this system. We are also organizing seminars to contribute to women's participation in various businesses. So as you can see, there are many programs going on. Many companies can take it for granted working on SDGs, but it is important to expand the scale of SDGs activities to local players as well. Lastly, preventing disasters. Although we do have climate change, poverty issue, and also the financial disparity, all of these issues require us to build better partnership. I think that's what the leverage point is trying to tell us. We have knowledge and network of insurance companies. We can utilize those networks for people. This is, once again, our DNA. So we want to keep both global and local perspective to expand the partnership. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sakai. Now I'd like to invite Professor Kanye and Dr. Montoya to make comments. Thank you very much. What should I say? Non-life insurance company and SDGs promotion. I didn't realize how they were close to each other. There is high level of affinity between your business and SDGs. There is a war going on in Ukraine, and there are multiple disasters. Yesterday, I was talking with somebody from the data company. They have suffered the hacking. Electricity is supported by data. If data is lost, all of the technical systems, such as ATM, will not be able to function, meaning that the services are unsustainable. So we have to make sure all of these services going on. So that sustainability is also important. And you have done an important thing. And there are a lot of things that we can learn from what you are doing. Gsdr that we are writing today focuses on the importance of expansion. In order to prevent stoppage, I think there is the essence, essential learning from your experiences. So if we study more of those companies like yours, there will be more lessons that we can extract and derive. One more thing that I'd like to share with you. Although you did not mention in your presentation so much, an insurance company is also an institutional investor. That is an important role. Earlier in the session, our speaker, Kanai-san, talked about their initiatives, impact financing. And this year marks the very beginning of the impact financing. In order to strengthen the financing part, I would love to listen to what Sampo is doing. So Dr. Montoya, your turn, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Again, I'd like to thank the presenter, Ms. Sakai from the Sompo Japan Insurance Group, for that very interesting presentation. I am truly impressed by your awareness of the SDGs and your efforts to actually create an impact on communities, particularly through partnerships with nonprofit organizations, which are actually numerous, in order to actually do your programs, as well as the disaster resilient platform that you actually discussed towards the end of your presentation. I'd like to emphasize that one of the highlights that you've mentioned is the co-creation and partnership with local governments and NPOs, which is really the essence and the heart of sustainability. And I think whereas we are doing all of these programs, similar to what I mentioned previously, I think we have to be conscious of monitoring how we are progressing. So we should be able to measure the extent by which all of these activities create impact. And for sustainability to happen, I think it should impact on behavior, whether it be by our employees or by the people outside the communities and the public in general. So we should be able to measure the extent to which certain behaviors or social practices are done and implemented so as to maximize the positive effects that we want to happen. So again, I'd like to commend the company, and I hope that you'll be able to sustain all of this through more work with the communities and with the NPOs in order to realize the SDGs that will benefit everyone, including the communities you're working in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Montoya. Ms. Sakai, would you like to respond? Thank you very much for your comments, both of you. First, Professor Kanye said that we have to stop the stoppage. And we have looked at the progress of mortalization that increased the accident. When there is a risk, there is always an insurance. When there is a risk, we are asked to provide solutions. We are providing multiple insurance products. But at the same time, we will be able to utilize risk information to prevent an accident from happening. We are an insurance company, but we are also institutional investment that is managing 4 trillion yen. And we are also engaged in investee companies. Doesn't matter they're listed or not listed. 1,600 companies. We actually conducted a survey targeting at 1,600 companies, and we received 600 companies' response. That information as to how much they are doing on SDGs, we received data. We conducted a seminar at the end of February to disclose how much SDG is progressing in different companies. By disclosing that information, we'll be able to actually improve and upgrade the level of SDGs efforts of a whole country. And also, as a comment made on the need of monitoring the partnership, yes, I believe that is a major challenge facing us. Save Japan project on diversity that I mentioned earlier, we have social ROI. We are trying to disclose that information as a measure, as an indicator. The outcome of what we have done should be measurable. We should be able to assess the impact. I think that is critical. It's not just in numbers. It could be presented in the form of episodes, for example. Internship students who visited the environmental NPO, how much that experience will be utilized. We are trying to collect information as episodes. And disclosing that, we'll be able to communicate how much we've been able to change the society. That is all. Thank you very much. Dr. Montoya suggested the advice. As I was looking at him, he was nodding his head, so that's very nice.
So now a presentation from Mitsui Sumitomo Financial Group. So Director Sustainability Promotion Office, Corporate Sustainability Department, Mr. Tatsuya Takeda, for about 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. My name is Takeda from Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group. Thank you very much for this very valuable opportunity today. So now, without further ado, I would like to give my presentation. So first page, please. So on the slide, this is for the realization of sustainability. Management organization are depicted in terms of a bag. This is a initiative. One of the leverage point for us is 2020 April in terms of the management philosophy that has been revised and statement of sustainability announcement. So first time we have reviewed our management philosophy in terms of employees and customers and stakeholders. The fourth stakeholder, society, has been added. So the existence of society as a stakeholder, we have been aware of that. But the external environment have changed, and sustainability, ESG, there are high awareness in this area. So the company's sort of a charter of belief, we decided to revise them. So this year, the group's chief sustainability officer has been established, and sustainability committee is one of the committee within the board of directors. So there is a stronger commitment to sustainability overall by the management team of our company. And this is the sustainability declaration, which I've talked about. So the statement or the declaration within SMBC Group, how sustainability is embraced within our companies are being shown in this wording. So in terms of sustainable community, this is the basics of our belief. So the definition of sustainability is for the able to establish a sustainable value for the predecessors in order to realize the sustainability of SMBC and the society as a whole. So in terms of the Green Grant Declaration of United Nations, we have thought that creating a society which all generation can enjoy economic prosperity and well-being and passing it to future generations is so important. Not only people development, but financial institution in nurturing industry and economy and business is also beneficial for the contribution of our future generation. In establishing the statement, this we have consider what is the competitive edge or difference of SMBC over 400 years. It is a history of different company called Mitsui Corporation and Sumitomo Corporation. And over 400 years in long duration of time, Mitsui and Sumitomo have joined together in this long history in time of full centennial in offering impact to the society. And the basic, of course, foundation of that is sustainability in itself. So the predecessors, in terms of their motivation of sustainability, that we will be able to live as we are in the green planet that could be passed over to the next generation. At the same time, through business, we would like to contribute our part in nurturing business and community and economy for the future. This is not only what we declare outside, but all the employees working at SMBC. Sustainability, ESG, is a given. And what is given is going to be done as one of our daily practices. And I think this had established a platform for everyone to be engaged in this belief. And in terms of the realization of sustainability, there are many, of course, issues that needs to be tackled. So what is under the limelight at the moment is a climate change. In 2020, in October, in Japan, Prime Minister Suga then had declared that we are going to achieve carbon neutrality in 2050. So in the United States, under Biden administration, they have rejoined the Paris Agreement. So now climate change, the effort, initiative is a global, of course, effort overall. And on this trend, the industry is decarbonization, and realization of that, we need to conduct a transition for changing our business model and technology innovation in order to reduce the carbon emission. And also some of the legal framework that is going to be the framework of that, a long, of course, term endeavorment is needed. So SMBC, in 2030, the emission of the greenhouse gas needs to be net zero. So achieving net zero, and on top of that, by 2050, SMBC Group overall, the customers' investment and also loan that are related to the emission will be also being made net zero. So we have made this commitment in the August of 2021. And this is the leverage point for the transformation that we are trying to achieve, the second leverage point. And in terms of climate change, between generation, between region, there may be a conflict of interest, and it is a big social issue. But this climate change, if we are let alone not to fulfill our part, that is doing unjust to the purpose of our company. So this is the intent to declare that. So the CEO, who's our head of organization, disseminating this information, the SMBC is going to engage in climate change with a very strong, solidified belief. So this is appealing to the public. So sustainability, we need to try to enhance the understanding of our company's perspective to all our employees as well. So this is how we tackle initiative of climate change issues, and also how we are going to support our customer. Decarbonization, of course, the greenhouse gases that we emit, scope 1, 2, of course, needs to be reduced. But scope 3 as well, the supply chain overall reduction of the greenhouse gases are also in need. In scope 3 for the financial institution, this is for the customer's investment and also loan portfolio. Everything is going to be covered. To achieve net zero, not only our effort, but also customers need to be mindful about the decarbonization as well, and we need to support that as well. So in terms of decarbonization, economic development, this contradicts, but it will not be oxymoron. But how this could be achieved together, it's a big challenge, but we need to achieve these both goals at the same time. So going on to the next page, SMBC Group, the customers' climate change, and for the transition, we like to support the customer to the maximum level. But by 2030, sustainable finance is going to be achieved to 30 trillion yen as a KPI in the area of sustainable financing. In the environment, 10 trillion was the original target. But globally, with this major trend and the customer stakeholders, the discussion and dialogue we had them, we like to attain for a higher goal of 30 trillion. On top of that, the new solution are also be invented. So greenhouse gases, the LNG are going to be introduced. The customer transition finance, the first time for us to structure this instrument is something that is done by us. So going on to the next page.
In the field of fighting with climate change, it's not just financial solutions that we can offer. We are also providing non-financial solutions. What you see here is Sastana services. That is to help companies to calculate CO2 emission. In order to provide support, we are going to add more functions in the future so that the company can eventually will be able to capture data on all the emission, helping them to achieve emission reduction. We are trying to establish the platform. Last November, banking law was revised. We were also asked to carry out operations to help sustainability. Because of this banking law revision, we want to expand the business to contribute to society. And this is the business that is recognized as such a business for the very first time in Japan. We are providing this service to customers. The bank now is a vendor of providing the service. This is epoch making. So it doesn't matter that it's financial or non-financial, our business fields are expanding. Lastly, I want to talk about SMBC Group's GX League basic concept. As a mega bank, we are the first to make this declaration. By 2050, we want to achieve carbon neutrality. To do this, we have to make sure that we have good economic cycle. We set a GHG emission cycle target and helping companies to achieve decarbonize, providing services and products so that we can contribute to greening the industry. This is based on METIS program. To achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, we help companies in different industries to set their own targets. We help them disclose the information through stakeholder dialogue. This is how we try to contribute to sustainability. SDG 17, that is a partnership. And I believe that this initiative is going to help achieve this SDG goal. So that is all that I have to say on our efforts for SDGs. Thank you, Mr. Takeda. Now I'd like to invite Professor Kaniye and Dr. Montoya to give us a response. Thank you very much. There have been a wide range of activities the SMBC is working on. There is a request and a question that I'd like to ask. In the beginning of your presentation, as you mentioned, sustainable finance. So the original goal was 10 trillion yen of green financing. Now it is upgraded to 30 trillion yen. Having said that, the sustainable finance or ESG investments are not as popular as we wish them to be. So how can we increase that investment? That will lead to changes in the overall social actions. So it's not just one company's effort, it could be larger than that. So what is your thought on this? But if you think about that, when we talk about sustainable finance, what is so sustainable? You need to set the standards to be able to say this is sustainable. Standards are set mostly by European counterparts, the other leaders. Unfortunately, Japan is a lagger. We're lagging behind in the areas of setting standards as well. This is unfortunate, so there comes my request. Please lead the global discussion. I want you to take part in that role. So that is my request. So question and the request. Thank you. SMBC declaration you mentioned. I think it's been progressing well. My old friend who never talked about sustainability, all of a sudden started to contact me. He kept saying that he wants to know more about SDGs. So I do feel that SDGs is more widely recognized. Thank you. So is a friend from SMBC? Yes, that's true. It was quite surprising. A person who's working for SMBC is interesting. So he represented a major change. So Dr. Montoya, would you like to also respond?
Yes, thank you very much. And again, I'd like to congratulate the speaker, Mr. Takeda, from the SMBC Group for the very interesting presentation. I am very much aware that your management philosophy reflects the efforts of the company to actually address the important issues that are being addressed by the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly climate change. And I'm particularly interested with the GX League basic concept of which you are actually have signed up. As a financial company, I think it would be good for you to also offer incentives or rewards for companies or people who actually initiate and sustain activities that would contribute to climate change or, greenhouse gas emission reduction, and also supported by the service that you mentioned, which is very interesting, for companies to be able to measure and monitor their greenhouse gas emission contributions. So again, as a financial company, I think it would be good for you to provide incentives or reward mechanisms or recognitions for the companies to be able to actively participate in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Takeda, would you like to respond? Thank you very much. So first, to Professor Kanye, to your comments, a question and a request. Just by looking at the society, by providing ESG investment, we can actually change the financial flow. But it requires more than one single financial company. We need to involve consumers. Consumers are making choices of investees. And they should ask for ESG information from companies. And companies to be selected and chosen, they will be pressured to disclose more information. And to make that happen, we need to build the disclosure framework. So that will lead to the second point, the request. Outside Japan, there is green financing framework, rules are made, definitions solidified, and we are also participating in this process of making rules. For climate change, TCFD is a rule maker. In terms of biodiversity, TNFD, Japanese, for the very first time as a Japanese megabank, we expressed our wish to participate in this rule-making process for diversity as well. So it's natural that we participate in the global process. But in terms of direct financing, there has been rules made for disclosure. But in terms of non-direct, indirect financing, specific rules have not been written yet. But there has been increased interest in SDG. There have been pressure applied to financial institutions. In case of bank, we need to make sure that the loans is extended to a safe place. More than ever, we need to make sure the loans are extended to the area where ESGs are protected. Because we do use our customers' saving to extend loans. So we need to make sure the loans are extended correctly. So there is a green financing that is clearly labeled. There are other financing and loans where whether extending loans is sustainable or not. We need to pay more attention to these questions. So recently, the money we extend is colored. It has meaning to it. Thank you, Mr. Takeda. Early on, in other sessions, there have been business representatives speaking each other, and they rarely had opportunity to have dialogue between different industries. So I'd like to ask Professor Kanye to make a proposal. Yes, I was hoping that you both, three of you, should talk with each other. To start there, you should be asking questions to each other. So inter-industry dialogue. Have you been involved with dialogue with other people outside your industry? And what have you thought of this dialogue? If you had, if there is no opportunity like that, what kind of dialogue would you like to have? Exchange with other industry people outside your business. You mentioned how you collaborate with NPOs and local communities. Having said that, is there any other parties that you want to better communicate? What kind of stakeholders would you like to work with? Ms. Tsuri, would you like to respond? As I mentioned, in our group, our retail stores, it is essential to have partnership for ongoing business because stores are supported by our connections with local community members. So I wonder what network do we need in addition to what we have today. For the past 3 years, though, to be environmentally friendly, we have been able to work with upstream industry players, the players that we have never had partnership with. And this has been happening much faster than we had been building partnership. So this is a new relationship. I'm not sure whether I've answered your question, but we have been accelerating partnership, expanding the partnership as well.
Well, as Professor Kanye was saying, what kind of relationship, or is there any change of a dialogue and interaction that you foresee had been answered by Ms. Tsuryu? If you're just following the same trajectory, nothing would happen. I think the turning point to do something different is to have dialogue with somebody else or talk with somebody from a totally different industry. And then you have come to realize, oh, these are the new perspective. So that is a trigger point. So I think this forum will be able to provide, hopefully, that opportunity. And that is, I I mean, having a chat and dialogue, it really it starts to foster a new way of thinking, and that's missing under the pandemic. So we should really gather together and really start off with having a chat and dialogue. So Ms. Sakai, what do you think? Well, thank you very much. Having a chat and discussion is so important. I would agree. Something that was come to realize that is financial and manufacturers, young employees of different verticals have high awareness about SDGs and ESG, and they want to do something, take part in this. And they organize a big seminar inviting around 1,000 people altogether. And each of the officers in charge of sustainability are being called upon. And we started with the chief sustainability officers, sort of a dialogue or forum between different verticals. So plutocracy of this bank, or plutocracy or conglomerate of this insurance company. When we try to establish a forum like as such, there is a different level of competition. So SDG mindset, high, of course, awareness to contribute to the society, very versed in digital as well, the young generation. So we need to have an open forum where they will be able to mingle together and share their opinion. And that, I think, will fuel the further growth of Japan as a nation. So, Professor Kanye, I think that could be one of the leverage points. Yes, I would think so. And to this, I have always a close touch point with my student, but some are very critical. In the latter session of the mainly on the youth session, you may feel that, but company who declare about SDG went to have an interview with the company to be employed, and the interviewer did not know anything about SDGs, and the student has said that this is how the student need to evaluate the companies about the SDG approach of the enterprises. So those critical points needs to be, I think, embraced, and it's a new feedback for us. So those opportunity, I hope this forum will give that sort of an opportunity. So the student, the perspective of students, something that you all treasure. And in university academia, I think that's also an important aspect as well. So, Mr. Takeda, what do you feel? And also with Ms. Sakai and Ms. Tsuju, if there's any area that you want to further engage with these two members, please share your opinion. So in terms of how you get along with NPO and different company, I would like to share this story at this MBC group. We have Green Globe Partners called GGP. GGP, only the 3 letters, you'll be able to search them. And it's a community that we are trying to create. GGP is a environmental, social issue that one single company will not be able to solve. It's transcending a company or transcending the borders or community to solve this problem. So once every month, we have a workshop or event. And we have our own media, meaning that we can distribute and post advertisement or promotional activities. So it's really the linkage between customers through GGP and the social and some of the environmental issues that we all confront. We try to create a platform, and there are about 500 institutional companies and 2,000 mail magazine subscribers. So we're not trying to monetize this. No, it's a company that have passion and mission, and the employees of those companies, we want to get to know each other. That is the intent of creating this platform. So those people who are really motivated, we need to put them under spotlight so that they can link together, so Japan will be able to solve these social issues. So those kind of human relationship or networking is what we are trying to do. So 7-Eleven and Sompo Japan, I hope you'll be able to join together on this effort so that we can work together even closely. So yes, as a forum, yes, Mr. Kanye, yes, please do so. Yes, I would like to encourage that activity. Okay, thank you very much. So listening to 3 of you and the comment from 2 of the IGS, I think SDGs is very organic in its form. the truth, passion of the company were being shared by the company and the very distinguished member of 2 IGS members. Thank you very much for the feedback. We like to share this learning with a wide audience. So, Professor Kanye, well, as Ms. Sakurada have kindly summarized, I have nothing really to add, but the various essence has been embraced within 3 of these the presentation given by the members. And Dr. I think Jaime Montoya have felt that there's a macroscopic perspective that we will need to learn, so we will be able to write a good report for the sustainable global SDGs are. So thank you very much, Ms. Tsuryu, Ms. Sakai, and Mr. Tatsuya, and thank you very much, Dr. Montoya, and also Professor Kanye for your participation. So we would like to conclude the 3rd session in terms of presentation of specific actions for solutions by business from global perspective. So we'd like to resume from 2 p.m. YoungCo.lab, young social entrepreneurs making a change, raise a voice to create a society where no one will be left behind. I hope you'll be able to join us for the next session. At the same time, I would like to seek for your cooperation in fulfilling the surveys. Thank you.